Hey everybody, July 7th, 2025, and I'm here with your after hours recap. Just to keep it short and sweet today, the market did what the market I thought should have done, which was digest a little bit. You had the ES up about 9 days in a row. I thought, maybe buying stuff today, especially if it was like NASDAQ and tech correlated, was just kind of a no go in my book. Although there were a few names like an Uber, which were acting absolutely fantastic, right? It had this little flag going into today and a really nice breakout and follow through. Palantir reclaimed a few key levels. That's nice to see. But really, I thought, what was kind of a bit more notable were the uranium names and like still a few of these energy names, right? Your LEU, your CEG, or sorry, GEV. I thought CEG was pretty good today too. So really, just these, whether it's another CCJ, so kind of like the power generation names, those, sprung to life today. Oklo I thought was pretty good too. But the reality was, it was very select few names today that really had any power. So it was kind of just hands off. Going into the ninth, potentially 10th green day in a row for the S&P 500 and for the Nasdaq. So I was just like, okay, let's just take it a little bit easier today. I'm sitting there in IBIT already, and I'm like, let's just see if the market is going to gain traction. Then something like IBIT should do well, but the market was just heavy for the most part, and IBIT was just fading for most of the day. No real traction there. So it kind of did what I expected it to do. Obviously, some names are still continuing to act well, especially in the growth space, and that's really good to see. It still looks like some names are just digesting and are just doing what they have to. Rocket Lab again, very nice day today. While an ASTS digest, nothing really wrong with the market here. I thought semiconductors still act really well. AVGO, I think, still is acting fantastic and still kind of acts like your leader. Spotify with a really nice bounce back today. So, really nothing negative to say about the market. Really liked the way gold hung in there today. Gold with a small little bounce back off the lows. I thought silver was fairly interesting with the way it bounced off its own lows as well. And it's just flagging up here nicely. You did have some nice moves as a buyout in SAND. Excuse me, SAND. Royal Gold bought them. What else looked pretty notable today? You did have the official news that CoreWeave was buying Cores, and Cores kind of had a pretty nasty down day, but huge pickup in volume right off the 20. Don't really know what more to say about today. It was a fairly muted day. The market did what I thought it was supposed to, which was digest for the most part. Most names digested unless you were in kind of like the nuclear sector. Otherwise, names like EAT took a big breather today. And yeah, really, it's just kind of that market, right? It's like it's very a stock picker. It's very selective market as to what's going to work today, what's not going to work today. Again, I didn't really think anything was wrong. I thought maybe step away from the Nasdaq names and the S&P 500 names for a moment, and maybe look in the metal space. Maybe look in the Chinese equity space. I kind of noticed Baidu today looked pretty dang good. Billy looked pretty good. So there was a bit of a pickup in volume today in these Chinese equities compared to just this digestion where you've got some low volume. So nice to see that money is still just sloshing around out there, and names are still working. Whether you're an Uber or maybe even a Hood, potentially just gearing up and going sideways here for another leg higher, but ultimately still pretty healthy. The banking names are still hanging in there fairly well. Obviously, JP Morgan, nothing wrong with this action, although it was on a pickup in volume. I still see nothing wrong with this action. It's just still above the 10-day moving average. So completely constructive. Otherwise, like I said, just a nothing burger kind of a day. Obviously, we all know what happened with Tesla overnight, and for the most part, stayed pretty heavy. So, but even on the gap down, you do have a pickup in volume. So, we'll see if in a few weeks these things decide to, the names that are just digesting decide to wake up. Really nice day for SoFi as well. This thing continues to act really well. Of course, I own this thing in the mid 14s, and it did shake me out on the 13th, and it is just kind of going. So, just kind of the nature of the beast right now. Stock pickers market, and yeah, there's really nothing I don't think to be negative about. It's just the market's doing what it's supposed to do, and it's kind of shaking the tree here before potential continuation in some of these names that have already made really nice moves up. So hopefully this video finds you guys well. Short and sweet today. I didn't see anything, where it was just like super negative action. So we'll just take it one day at a time. We'll try to get repositioned in some names. I still own ARK. I still own the cruise liner, CCL. So we'll just see what happens from there and wait for some clean setups. We will see you guys tomorrow for a pre-market broadcast. Cheers.